Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Adebanjo Faith. If you're seeing me for the first time, have you ever observed your child or that child doing a certain activity over and over again? Maybe carrying a heavy stuff and dragging it across a distance and repeating that process again and again and again. Well, it could be that that child is in that certain sensitive period. So what is sensitive period? So sensitive period is a period or periods in a child's life when a child is open to learning a certain skill the easiest and the quickest. So like I said initially when I opened this video, or at the start of this video, that if you've observed that your child is doing and repeating something over and over again, that is a sign that that child is in that specific sensitive period. Now, why is it important for us as parents or caregivers or teachers to know about sensitive period? This will help you know when to infuse or imbibe a certain skill into a child's life without having to fuse or fight the child about it. We know that teaching a child, for instance, or telling a child, okay, it's time to wash the plates now, or it's time to do this, most of the time they refuse, especially older children. And that is because when it was their own sensitive period to doing those things, they wanted to play with water, they wanted to help you sweep, they wanted to do this, we were shoving them away, or we're like, okay, no, you can't do it, you're still little, later you do it. And that was when they were open to learning that skill the quickest. So if we learn about sensitive periods of a child, we'll be able to, like my popular saying, and that is Montessori saying, follow the child in learning. So you will not be teaching a child something that the child is not ready for, and you will not delay teaching a child something that he or she is ready for until later, right? So how do you know if your child is in a certain sensitive period or not? If you observe that that child keeps repeating that activity over and over again. For instance, if a child is in sensitive period for language, you'll notice that the child keeps repeating everything that everybody is saying around him or her. That is a good time to introduce some things about language to the child. That's just an example anyways. It is very important to note that these periods do not happen one after the other, okay? And they most of the time overlap. You don't expect a child to have only to be sensitive to just a particular area and focus on that area alone. The child might be sensitive to multiple things at the same time, so it's a good time to introduce those things at the same time into the child's activity or play or learning. If a child's an activity is delayed, especially when the child is showing readiness for it at that time, but it is not done for that child at that time, or the child is not allowed, it would be difficult for the child to catch up later. Not impossible though, but really, really difficult. That's where the struggles come in. So let's just jump right into the types of sensitive periods, or the different sensitive periods that we have. So in Montessori, we have 6 sensitive periods. So the first sensitive period in Montessori is the sensitivity to order. Now, and this starts from birth upwards, from when the child is born until the child grows older, through the toddler stage. And this is a period when a child is inclined to, for instance, if you put an object in a place, or maybe the child's water bottle, it is usually kept in a particular place. If you ask that child to go and get the water bottle, the child will not go elsewhere. The child will go to the exact place where you usually put it, or he or she has observed that you put it. It is the same with routine. So if you are used to doing certain things at certain time for that child, the child will expect instinctively that that thing is done at that time. So as opposed to we knowing that, okay, children like to be disorganized, the children are sensitive to order, and if we put that tone there, the child automatically goes. An example is that if you've observed your child, maybe you remove your slippers somewhere else where you usually, different from where you usually pull off your slippers, the child could go there, pick it and return it back to that place. I don't know if you've seen something like that before. So that is the child being sensitive to order. Now the second sensitive period is the sensitivity to refinement of senses. This is where the child is sensitive, and it happens from when the child starts to crawl observe things, wants to touch this. You see child picking up that, is tasting this, putting it in his mouth, smells something, turns towards the sound of things and all of that. That is the child trying to refine his or her senses through touch, through tongue, through the skin, and all the sense organs. The next is the sensitivity to language. This happens from birth up until 5 years old. So between this time is when a child gets to master whatever language is in his or her own environment. Even if you do not teach the child officially how to speak a particular language or even how to speak. Now, if you isolate a child absolutely from where there is any form of speaking up until 5 years, it might be impossible for that child to learn how to talk at all. That's when you see some type of speech impediment, because there was no talking. Because the child was not exposed to any form of language in the environment at all. The next sensitivity is sensitivity to walking. This happens from before. Some children walk even before they are 1, but let's just say averagely from 1 year old upwards, right? And this is where the child starts to make attempts, even without you teaching them, to stand up and walk. Now, if you always and consistently do not give a child the opportunity to stand up and walk, to walk around, to strengthen their leg muscles, it might not happen easily after. The next is the sensitivity for the interest in small objects. Have you observed your child looking closely at maybe one small ant and then following it closely and trying to pick it up? Or maybe one tiny object you might not even observe, except you squat and kneel down to see what the child is actually seeing. So they want to pick, they want to take it. They are just naturally sensitive to things that are really tiny, and they want to poke at it and pick it up. And this happens most of the time from 1 year upward. The last is the sensitivity to the social aspect of life. This happens from like 3 years upward, though even before 3, some children are beginning to be aware of their their environment. But this is when the child no longer plays alone, but can engage with other children and can engage with others to play, group play, and they are concerned if someone says I'm not your friend again, or I'm your friend again. Imagine my own 1.5-year-old. If I tell her I'm not her friend again, she will laugh because she does not even know what that means. But my 3-year-old, if I tell her I'm not your friend again, she'll be like feeling bad, and she'll come later, Mommy, am I your friend now? That girl is becoming sensitive to the social aspect of life. This video is just to introduce this sensitive period to us. Please do check out and watch out for other videos that will now talk about each of these sensitive periods, one after the other, and how you can help a child when you are in that sensitive period, because that is even more important. How to help each child to walk a child in a particular sensitive period, how to help a child in a particular sensitive period to utilize the best of that period, so to say. So thank you so much if you stayed to the end of this video. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button, because I do parenting and child learning content every single week that will definitely be of help to you and your child. See you next time.